Okay. Yes, I am your soul brother Talib. Yes, I would like to talk. First of all, I would like to introduce the topic of this video, which is called Black on Black Crime. And, I would like to equate some things in this video that I'm making on this subject pertaining to the platform that I'm on with our other soul brother, Angel Snup Snup 7 of Reality Temple Ministries. And who I was also a part of the Operation Exodus Mississippi campaign platform. And I would just like to say that you know, I have to, take some responsibility in this, current modern day wave of crime that's going on in the black community throughout the United States. Because, now that I'm in my early 50s, I could remember 30 years ago that, I played a part in this. And, I also, which I'm not proud to really speak on, but, I helped in the generation that I came from to set the tone for this wave of crime that's going on today in the black community, especially among younger people that is among dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America population in this country. And I apologize to those of you out in social media land and publicly overall that I played a part in helping to set the trend, helping to continue the tradition that the ancestors that came before myself laid as far as the foundation when it comes to so-called black on black crime in the streets of America. And I just, I saw some stuff on the internet, online. It was a couple of shootings that took place. Well, it was more than a couple of shootings, but it was several people that was wounded at a block party that consisted of Atlanta University Clark college students. And also there has been repeated robberies going on at another local university in Atlanta. And I mean, it's no secret. I was a part of that rising crime scene back in the 90s in Atlanta. And I paid a dear price for it, which, got me numerous years in the Georgia Department of Corrections. And, you know, and also, even though that wasn't my only stint in the, prison system, but I played a part in this. And when I look at it today, and I say to myself, how much that I wish I could be of a help to do something to turn this around. Well, I don't see no other way other than us as dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America, taking control of a state like Mississippi and creating it as a safe haven so that we can effectively deal with issues such as black on black crime, as well as other unfortunate issues that has destroyed us as a community in terms of us as a group of people in this country. And this proposal of the Exodus Operation Mississippi campaign has unfortunately fell on deaf ears, but that would help as being the complete antidote of our ills as a group of people in this country. But anyway, moving along, I hate to say this, but when I see the wave of crime that's happening now, especially among the younger generation of our times, I have to say that even though I cannot judge them, and I'm not in no position to judge them as well, but I can say that it does naturally impact me as well as hurt me to see that we're losing our younger generation to crime and to the prison system, and which is another step away from concentration camps and mass graves, and I mean, so far, our over 400-year oppressor has been able to manage to fulfill that plan, far as incarcerating as many of us. I'm talking about us as dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America, who's usually referred to as black people, African Americans, or what have you. But anyway, it appalls me that the present day so-called black leadership in this country is not trying to do nothing at all effectively to curve this problem to the side, to bring other alternatives that would, end this crisis for once and for all, as far as this black on black crime madness that's going on among us as a people. And I have to attribute something, although I don't agree with everything this individual whose name I'm about to bring up says, but he did say one thing that I still can agree with to this very day. Minister Louis Farrakhan, I heard him once in a lecture say something basically that black people are more fearful of each other than ever. And that's true. That is definitely true. You know, we're scared to even approach each other on the streets now because of out of fear of some conflict or some type of altercation or what will lead to some type of gun violence taking place, like what I mentioned about that just happened down in Atlanta at Atlanta Clark University, matter of fact, which is a historical black college. And I mean, you know, all them students was doing was having a block party. And next thing you know, two individuals who was identified in the video came in there and just shot up 4 people. And like I said before, early in the video, they all went to the hospital, and all of them have been released from the hospital, far as I know, and they made it out of that situation with their lives still intact, you know. But I mean, how many more of our people don't make it out of situations like that just to still remain among the living? You know, and that's what I want to also talk about too, because a lot of us, we killing each other for nothing to begin with. We killing each other over chicken wings, or like somebody say, over an argument about a damn chicken sandwich. You know, we killing each other, you know, over, you know, a pair of Jordans that only cost 5 cents to be made in some factory over in China. You know, we killing each other over other so-called expensive material stuff. You know, to the point of either us losing our freedom and finding ourselves, you know, languishing in the prison for the rest of our life because we saw something that somebody else had and we simply just wanted to take it, you know. And I mean, like I said before, you know, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to just point out something because I really want to see this stop. You know, being that I was once a part of this so-called criminal element. And, you know, but I want to see it stop, you know. And I mean, it's hard, you know, when I look around, even every day when I walk out this door, and the more I see other people that look like me, I got to put on some type of defense mechanism, or, you know, I have to be prepared some kind of way, just in case I feel like I have to protect myself or whatever, or even to the point of involving the law, just to be on the safe side in case something happens, you know. And it's just crazy, you know, because, I mean, it's like, it's nowhere safe in this country, not even in this smaller city, which is much more smaller than a city like Atlanta, or like a city like Detroit or St. Louis, you know. And I mean, but you still got to look over your shoulders. You know, you still got to worry about if you're going to get robbed, if you're going to get killed, just for the little you got, especially if you just poor like everybody else and barely trying to survive, you know? And I mean, it's like, you know, we kill each other just for somebody looking at somebody the wrong way or staring at somebody the wrong way, you know, or, you know, like I said, anything could ignite a situation. Something simple as just, you know, somebody bumping into somebody without saying, excuse me. Or even if a person tried to, you know, rectify the situation by, you know, saying, excuse me, somebody still might want to get violent and pull out a gun. And there you go. You know, that type of stuff. Or even pull out a knife. Or just try to fight you over nothing. I mean, it's just crazy. And I mean, because black people are so emotional anyway, and the fact that we don't know how to control our emotions properly is the reason why many of us are so violent, especially toward one another, you know. And, you know, I mean, we could sit up and use the white man as an excuse, you know, by blaming the white man for our problems, or sit up and even blame slavery for our problems. But today, we don't have no excuses because we have choices in the matter where we could change our situation, you know, for once and for all. And like I said, by getting the state behind us, where we could have a safe haven, where we could quarantine ourselves from the rest of this racist society that we're in, and work out our differences and our problems and change the way that we do things, you know, especially among each other, you know. But since we're not willing to do that, unfortunately, I have to say that we're going to continue on committing crimes, especially more so against each other. And I have to say this because when I bring up us committing crimes against each other, the first thing, you know, black people would say, well, you know, white people commit crimes against each other, Hispanics commit crimes. Yes, I understand that. Yes, Hispanics commit crimes against each other, Asians even commit crimes against each other, and so forth. Yeah, every culture does, but not to the extreme that we do. Okay, let me just make that clear again. No other group in America, as far as ethnicity go, commits crimes against each other more like black people do, who are preferably called dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America. Okay, and I mean, you know, and that's just a fact. I've been around the block enough to know that, you know. Like I said, we'll kill each other about a piece of barbecue chicken, you know. And I know stuff like that has actually happened, you know. So, I mean, it's not a secret. And those of you in the so-called pro-blackity black conscious community know what I'm saying is true. But yet on y'all platforms, y'all rather talk about stuff that's not relevant to the upliftment of our cause. So you don't bother to put that out there. Well, as a truth bearer, I'm putting that out there, and I have to say that this is real. There's so many of us dying, and not just in Chicago. We dying, like I said, in Atlanta, St. Louis. I just recently heard it's been back-to-back, consecutive back-to-back deaths of little black kids getting shot fatally in St. Louis, Missouri. Just back-to-back recently. I mean, the same thing, of course, I'm familiar with has taken place in my hometown, where I'm originally from, which is Detroit, Michigan. And and this happens all over the country in other cities. I mean, it's just it don't stop. And I mean, it's like the way that parents are allowing our children to be out there in them streets just don't make no sense, of course. But yet, when someone brings it to the parents' attention, then they want to get violent or aggressive, especially when they know it's true. That they obviously are not doing what is right by taking the proper steps to keep their children away from environments that create crime and that make their children violent prone. Like with young children and teenagers joining gangs, which is on the rise more than ever, even than what I seen in my own generation coming up. And I mean, it's getting to the point, where we're gonna have to either put things in check, even among ourselves as older adults, because I mean, there's just as many older adults among us in the black community that is irresponsible and that's still caught up in the criminal element of things, as well as drug addiction, or whether they're caught up in gangs. I mean, I still, from what I understand, it's still brothers, soul brothers out in California that's in their 60s and 70s still throwing up Crip and Blood signs. It's still, I'm sure, brothers around that age bracket that's throwing up Vice Lord and Black Gangster Disciple gang signs in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, what else do they know other than that to pass on down to generations that come after them? And here we is, like myself in our 50s, passing this same tradition on to the younger generation. I mean, we might as well be exterminated after all, when it comes down to all this, we might as well be exterminated. And this is why I said, once I begin this video, that I'm not the one to judge, nor am I in the position to judge. But I can, like I say this for the truth, for the sake of truth that we need to get it together, black people, if we want to survive futuristically as a group of people in this nation or beyond this nation. We got to get it together. It's just that simple. Because we are in the process of being exterminated. And through committing crimes on each other, unfortunately, that is, the reality is that is definitely one part of it. You know, and I have to also say that, you know, like I say, you got these so-called black leaders, including Louis Farrakhan, that is not doing nothing effectively to change this around. And they have the power and resources and means to do so. But unfortunately, they ain't doing it, you know, and I have to just say that it's not about waiting on a single leader. It's about coming together collectively, you know, pulling ourselves together collectively to change our whole entire situation around for once and for all. Because ain't nobody gonna do it. We can't wait on the system to do it. And that's been proven over and over, just like on an everyday basis, you know. You know, that's why the prison industry is booming. Because that's how they make their living and profits, which is off of us killing each other and victimizing each other criminally, you know? So that's why you have the prison industry, which is $1 billion empire. And from what I've understood for quite a while, the prison industry is the biggest industry in the nation when it comes to economics. Just like slavery was during our ancestors' generation. You know, like they say, it's more black men locked up in these American jails and prisons, more so than it was black men that were being enslaved during the year 1857. Well, I have to concur with that as being a fact, you know, because you have to consider at the time how less of a population of us it was in this country, you know, compared to the 44 plus 70 million of us now that are here in the United States. And then we're 13% of the population, but it's more of us incarcerated than any other group in this country. And I mean, you know, that just don't look good, you know, because it's broken up our families, let alone our communities as a whole. It's torn families apart, of course, as it's torn individual lives apart. And, you know, I could even see that, of course, in my own, you know, personal so-called family, you know, as many other soul brothers and sisters in their own case similarly can, you know, and I mean, it's like a plague. It just don't stop, day-to-day basis, you know, and I mean, it's like we know that the system is geared toward our destruction, but we still keep on participating in it. And I'm talking about those of us that know this. I ain't just talking about the common Negro, you know, that's just totally oblivious or ignorant to the situation. I'm talking about those of us, especially those of us in the so-called black conscious community that know this. But yet we still selling dope. Some of us still gang banging, killing each other over nonsense, you know, and the whole 9 yards, you know. So, I mean, it's like, you know, we need to really understand this, that this is not a game. You know, I mean, and then we already, you know, making a mistake by bringing all these, you know, illegitimate, you know, children in the world, for even some of them not to make it past 6 or 9 months, years on this earth, because they got caught up in the middle of a shootout, you know, where they caught a bullet that was intended for their mother or father. You know, like a case I heard about over a couple years ago in Chicago, where it was a gang-related shooting, and a brother was in a truck, and his baby was in there. I think both of the parents were there in the truck with the baby, and the baby wasn't number 6 months years old. And you know, when the shots were fired, they was intended for the father, but the baby got killed. Wasn't number the 6-month-year-old little girl. I mean, you know. So this is what you bring your children in the world for? Just for their lives to be ended? Matter of fact, some of them didn't even make it a year to see life on earth, you know? I mean, so what's the use in even having these babies anyway? Especially when we're still in our slave-like condition, as we've been in for almost going on 500 years in this nation, you know? I mean, and then most of us don't want to take care of these children anyway, like we supposed to. We don't want to own up to the responsibility of the fact that we laid up in the bed, that most of you laid up in the bed and had these children, and then just want to evade that responsibility or put that responsibility on others whose responsibility is not to take care of your child, you know, and all this other nonsense. So, you know, like I said before, it don't really make no sense in bringing these children in this world, which is already hell. And when you know it's hell, you know, from your own personal experiences, especially being dark-skinned descendant of a slave born in America, and yet you want to bring another life, a human life, into this existence of hell just for them to suffer the same fate or worse. You know, so like I said before, I mean, it's just crazy. And I just want to touch up on something too. You know, and I think about fathers being in prison. Well, it's mothers being in prison. You know, I'm talking about black fathers and black mothers that are incarcerated in this country. You know, I have to say, well, you know, I have a paternal one who's the paternal half of my mother that's incarcerated. He's up in his 70s now. But when I was a baby, he was doing time in prison. When I was growing up, he was in and out of jail or in prison, you know. And then here it is, I ended up repeating that cycle, and with that said, fortunately, even though I wrestle and I still kind of wrestle with it, but I'm not too mad or too, sorry, nor do I feel unfortunate as much as I used to because I don't have children of my own. Because I see the benefit of not having children of my own because they don't have to suffer through this like I've had to, you know? And that's just the reality of it. And like I said, especially being black in America, and many other, sons who've had fathers in prison beside myself, ended up repeating that cycle, of following in the footsteps of their fathers. And now we got black daughters who are following in the footsteps of their black mothers as far as being in prison or jail, incarceration. And this is just sad. And this is steadily, generationally destroying many black families. And no one is addressing this. No one is effectively addressing this because it's killing our generations as a people. Mass incarceration is worse than HIV. It's just even worse as chattel slavery was for our ancestors. It's worse. As any disease you could think of on this earth that exists among humanity. It's like a cancer. It's killing us. Like I said, it got us divided as families, which brings on resentments and other kind of forms of separation and hostilities and all that. And yes, we know that the Caucasian played his hand part in this, especially thanks to that 1994 crime reform bill that was signed during when Bill Clinton was president at the time. Also, when I was at that one time period when I was also incarcerated, and that definitely destroyed many people and families in this country, especially those of us that are dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America. And that is definitely a fact, And like I said before, but that we still cannot keep using that as an excuse. We have to find ways to do something about that. And one way, which is like me and brother Angel Snuff 7 has been trying to tell y'all for over a year, is to get on this bandwagon, and help us push this Mississippi campaign by, taking control politically of a state, which we could get a state behind us, which would be bigger than anything else that we always talking about, and where we could put this type of problem as well as many other problems among us as a people effectively to an end by changing our ways and doing things different, and like I said before, we need to really understand this. This is very serious. And when like I said, when I hear about crime among us as a people, I mean, it's so sad because, just being dark skinned and just walking out there in the streets every day, and I got to face another person that looked like me and be labeled as a snitch, even when I'm not caught up in the criminal element of things, but I'm still labeled as a snitch. When I'm just a law-abiding member of society, minding my business, but I'm labeled as a snitch, because other dark-skinned descendants of slaves that's still caught up in the criminal element of things, haven't decided whether they want to remain paranoid or just simply stop committing crimes, especially among each other. If you feel that paranoid, like somebody always gonna go and rat you out or tell on you, however you want to put it, you need to just stop doing what you're doing and find a different way to live, But of course, in many of our cases, that's just easier said than done, But like I said before, it's sad. It is really sad that we have to be very leery of each other like that. And what's also sad is the reality is that this has brought us to the point of being more fearful of each other than us being fearful of our over 400-year-old Caucasian oppressor in this country, And that's just a fact. I could walk down the street right now, right where I'm at, even downtown or wherever, and we could be around more Caucasian people, and it won't be nothing but me and another black person, and they'll look at me like they ready to victimize me. But you got all these Caucasians of these other ethnic groups, but you look at me to target as a victim. And that is today, unfortunately, the sad mentality that exists among black people in this country. Because we have been trained for so long on how to hate each other that we don't understand and know no other way of how to deal with each other other than the negative way that we've been dealing with each other for so long, So, like I said before, it's just sad, and then we expect other people from other ethnicity groups or so-called racial groups to respect us. You want the racists to stop killing us. You want these other people to stop killing us. But we don't even know how to stop killing each other. So how you expect other people to give us that type of respect when we can't even respect each other like that? And that's just the reality of it. That is the unfortunate reality of it. And I'm going to say this too. A lot of you don't realize this. And although there are some of you who do realize this, but just ain't interested in really trying to do nothing about this situation. But this has driven the racists to kill us the way they do. Because of the fact that they see how easy it is to infiltrate us and victimize us like they want to, because they see how we victimize each other on a wide scale basis, you know? And I mean, even when I go on YouTube just to look for videos, even among the so-called conscious black community that's in social media, there's not enough of you even having this conversation. I don't care if it's Sarnetta, Dr. Boyce Watkins, whatever her name is, Nubian Queen sister, you know, Polite, Young Pharaoh, Seti, Sarasu Seti, I don't hear none of you, really bringing this issue up. And I'm talking about, some of you even be talking about killing each other when y'all claim to represent pro-blackness, which goes against that, So, like I said before, it's like it's at the point now where this is what has driven me to really not want to have nothing to do with black people. This is the reason why I stay to myself a lot. This is why I don't, try to associate too much with people. And I know you may consider that as self-isolation or whatever, or or antisocial, however you want to put that, But the reality is, it's more safer for me not to be dealing with too many people than it is for me to be dealing with a whole bunch of people, especially that I know don't mean me no good personally, nor mean any good for the betterment or welfare of us all as a group of people, And that's the point I've just came to, and like I said before, it's already bad enough that here it is. I have to worry about walking out my door every day, worrying about if I'm going to die at the hands of a Caucasian racist, whether it's a police or not, and then, but then at the same time, I got to worry about dying at the hands of another black person over some trivial or unnecessary reason, Like I say, looking at another brother or sister the wrong way, or staring at somebody, glancing at somebody, something that could just get my life took, or any one of our lives took. I mean, this is the reality. This is happening all the time throughout America, whether it's in big metropolitan areas or smaller area pockets of America. This is happening, and as I'm speaking now, it's happening. Is somebody getting shot up at some after-hour nightclub over something stupid, whether it's over a female or whether it's over another man? I mean, all kind of crazy stuff. Or because you looking at somebody's female, or because you looking at a sister's man, So now they ready to pull out a AK and blow your head off. Just so they could risk being in the penitentiary for the rest of their life over nothing. Just something silly. You know? And I mean, it's just sad when you really think about this. You know, and I mean, it even makes me more, even though I can't do nothing about my own personal past, but just move on. But it kind of still, I have to admit, makes me regret that I even got into the business of crime as a younger person, even at the age of 8 when I was a child, you know? And like I said, unfortunately helping to pave the way for what's now still among us as far as crime and drug addiction and all this other stuff going on among us as a people, you know? And but like I said before, I can't keep harping on the past, nor do I, you know, matter of fact, I move more away from harping on the past because that only helps to make me better as a person, you know? But at the same time, I have to realize as I'm growing in the stage of moving away from, you know, focusing on my past, I have to be what they call in religion, a beacon of light to others, to help others, not to go in that same direction that I went in. And when I say that also, I'm talking straight to the younger generation out there, you know, because we losing many of our younger youth, as well as younger adult brothers and sisters, to these jails and penitentiaries, if not the graveyard, on a daily basis in this country, you know? And it's risen to unbelievable heights. More so, of course, than what I saw in my own generation, you know? And it's unfortunate, you know, and this is why it's upon us who are in our 50s and our 40s and 50s to come collectively together by creating a safe haven environment for ourselves to where we could work together and change this so our future generations among us won't have to keep going through this same crap, you know? And I mean, it's just that simple. Because we've waited on others to help us do something about it, and it's just not working. And I mean, you know, we have to realize where we at. First of all, in the situation that we're in as a people. And that's bad enough as it is for us already. But for us to be committing crimes and killing each other and all this over just simple, pure nonsense, it just don't make no sense. I mean, I could sit up all night and name off more trivial things that a lot of us are sitting in prison over based on black crime, you know? But I'm not gonna go into that. That's not too important. The important is us coming together to do something about this for once and for all. But like I said, for those who don't have deaf ears that this will fall on, I just encourage you, you know, to make a change. not just for yourself or your personal family, but for us all as a whole, by coming together with those like-minded as myself, to do something about this, because there's no big eyes or yous, as they say in religion. It's not about no leader or no looking up to no divine prophet or God to help save us. We tried that. That ain't work. So we all got to come commonly together in a collective manner on this, But, like I said, with that said, I have to move on with the rest of my evening. But I just wanted to really reflect on this, as I've been seeing constantly still what's going on among us out here in these streets as a people, and and one thing and one other thing I just want to say too is that our sisters out there being prostituted by brothers, it hurts me because I grew up in the 70s watching black women go through the same thing. I'm talking about, our mothers, our grandmothers, and it's detesting to even see these generation of black women even more so going through this, and I know it got to be hard on the present day black generation of women who go through this, especially if they youngest, 14 to 15-year-old, 16-year-old teenagers, like that sister who just got out of prison in Tennessee, because she had to defend herself against someone who was trying to sexually assault her, over which was prostitution related, But I mean, it's sad, it's very sad that our sisters go through this, and then we wonder why our sisters don't respect us, because they don't feel protected by us when we're supposed to be their protectors, But I mean, it's like, who can they turn to? And with that thought, I'll leave you with that. But I mean, it's like we got to either stop this or just face our fate, which is called the process of elimination, or in other words, extermination. And with that said, I'm RD 5000 and peace.